everyone, I'm here today with my April TBR. I've not filmed a TBR video in nearly a year, I don't think, possibly over a year. And that's mainly because I was playing a TBR game a year ago and that just all of a sudden started being really evil to me, and so I wanted to just be able to read what I wanted and sort of pick what I wanted. But doing that, my reading's just been really off the last year or so. Meanwhile, I know for a fact I've become a massive mood reader, so trying to make a TBR now seems a little bit silly in some ways and feels really daunting because I'm not sure how well I'm going to be able to stick to this. What I have noticed is that I read 10 books in January, 10 books in February, and 8 books in March. But one of the ones in March was House of Leaves, which is just an insane book. So I think it's safe to say that this year I'm currently averaging 10 books a month. So I thought if I put more than 10 books on my TBR, that still gives me some flexibility to mood read around what options I give myself. So that's what I'm going for. I do the bulk of my reading on Kindle right now. So I've got 10 Kindle books. I've got 4 audiobooks with the logic of I listen to about an audiobook a week, and 2 physical books because I do really want to still make sure I get in my physical TBR. If you've seen my video where I state how ridiculously long I'm going to have to live to be able to read my TBR, you will know that the physical side of things is my smallest number by far in terms of unread books. So that needs to stay less than everything else, but I'd still like to read 1 or 2 a month, so that's what I'm going to go for now, 2 a month, and we'll adjust accordingly in future months, especially when I'm back off furlough, which will probably be next month. So yes, this will be my last month of probably being able to do some solid reading, so I wanted to have a plan, and let's kick it off. The first book that I am hoping to be able to read in April, I have already started, and that is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I've been seeing people talk about the Farseer trilogy specifically for many years, but also just all of Robin Hobb's books just get so much love on BookTube, and I'm feeling I feel like I'm missing out basically. So I wanted to jump in, and I've been saying for the last year or two that I want to jump into some more fantasy anyway. And so this book is my chance to do that. I've already started it. I'm a couple of chapters in, vlogging as I go, and you'll have to keep an eye out for future week's vlogs to see how I'm getting on. The second book I've put on my Kindle side of this TBR is Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. I'd ideally potentially like to also read Windwitch this month, but I've just put Truthwitch down for now, although I'm hoping to end up picking up both. Mainly because I've seen that there is a read along going on for this series hosted by Jade over at JD Ray Reads, and again it's a series that I've seen people talk about so much, and I feel like I've missed out on because of never really picking up much fantasy. So I wanted to join in. By a similar tone, the next book I have put on my TBR is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is a very, very, very popular series here on BookTube that people absolutely love and adore. And I need to read this first edition in this series to get to a book that I need to read further into the series for the BookTube Bestie project. If you don't know what that is, I'll leave that linked in the cards and also the description down below, because that is something I am very passionately basing my TBR around. So yeah, I need to get that read ASAP so I can find out what I'm missing out on and also head towards the book I need to be reading for my project. Next up after that, we have Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. I want to read this ASAP because a couple of weeks ago now I read Daughter of Smoke and Bone, which is the first book in the series, and I liked it a lot. I didn't love it, but I liked it a lot, and I want to continue on with the series. And one of the things that I've been trying to do in more recent months, this last year or so really, is when I start a series, carry on with it straight away, because otherwise it's not going to happen. I'll have to restart the series. I know this is fact at this point, so I want to pick this up sooner rather than later. Next up is a book where the author has some controversy around them, but I'm someone who prefers to try and separate the work from the author, and I'd already bought this book on my Kindle before hearing about the controversy, so I am going to read it regardless. And this is The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. This is another one that I'll be reading for the BookTube Bestie Project. Another one that I'm reading because of the BookTube Bestie Project, but again, it's not the book I need to be reading. I need to be reading a book further into the series than this one, but I want to read the first one first, obviously. So I'm going to be reading Beartown by Fredrik Backman. I've been wanting to read some Fredrik Backman for so long, and loads of people love Beartown, so I'm sure this will be a great place for me to start with his work. Next, we have another controversial author. I actually received this book for free via NetGalley too many years ago, and sadly and ashamedly never got round to it, so it's not like I've paid for this book. But this is Nevernight by J. Christoph. Next up is another one that I've had from NetGalley for far too many years, and this is Boneless Mess by April Genevieve Tuchok. And yeah, BookTube Bestie Project. Need to say any more. Nevernight was also part of the BookTube Bestie Project, in case I didn't say. Like I said, I'm basing a lot of my reading choices around that, and I can still mood read around the choices and see what I'm in the mood for and still work through that at the same time. So I'm pretty happy with how that's going to work out for me. And I'm just working on multiple booktubers' favourites at once. At number 9 on my Kindle list here, I have got Things to Do Before the End of the World by Emily Barr. This is a new release by this author. She is the author of... I can't think. I'm having a total mind blank. And I've not wrote it down because I assumed I'd remember. So at this point, she's a known author of a couple of YA novels anyway. And this is coming out in May, I think. And I've got an advanced copy, so I thought I would read and review it this month. And the final one that I've popped on for my Kindle TBR for April is Cleopatras Shadows by Emily Holman. And this one is again one that I have had from NetGalley for far too long, so I'm knocking out those old NetGalley books that I should have read forever ago, and also hitting up my BookTube Bestie Project, so it's all good. On to the audiobooks. I want to listen to Don't Touch My Hair by Emma DeBerry, because this is a book that Aoife read and loved last year and absolutely adored and shouted from the rooftops. And then Victoria, of What Victoria Read, also picked it up late last year and absolutely adored it and was like, you need to read this to everyone. So I'm finally getting around to doing it. It will happen at some point this month. I'm currently listening to The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I've got less than an hour left of that, so that's definitely getting done this month too, as my second audiobook pick. It's quite a short one, and it's my second Elizabeth Acevedo book, but it's the first book I've ever listened to by anyone that is in verse, so that's been an experience. Another book that I want to listen to this month is Freshwater by Aweki Emezi. This one again is another BookTube Bestie Project pick. And indeed, my fourth pick is also a BookTube Bestie Project pick. And that is Middle Game by Shauna Maguire. This is a book that I've been wanting to pick up anyway for so long. So many people love this book. So can't wait to finally find out what I've been missing out on with this one. And finally, the 2 physical books that I want to read this month. The first one was a gift for my birthday last year from Victoria, but What Victoria Read, and that was The 5 by Hallie Rubenhold. I've been putting off reading this for far too long. I've been so eager to pick it up. Even before I got it, it's always one of those books I've been like, I need to read this book, I need to read this book. And even now I've had it, I've just not been quick to pick it up. But my reading mood's been a bit all over the place. So I wanted to be massively, desperately into reading when I did finally pick this up, which I now am feeling. So yeah, I'm really excited to be reading this book. This is about the women who have been attacked, who were attacked by Jack the Ripper. And from what I remember hearing, you get quite in-depth kind of tales about their life up until the point where they are murdered. And I already know quite a bit about the women anyway because of being quite obsessed with Jack the Ripper over the years and doing a lot of reading around myself. But all the same, this felt like crucial reading for me. So I'm excited to have a chance to pick this up this month. And the other one is a book that I've been putting off reading again for far too long. And that is The Extinction Trials by S.M. Wilson. This is described as being The Hunger Games meets Jurassic Park. So I'm excited to try it out. It's a book that Brit over at Basically Brit absolutely adored and shouted about back when she read it, however many years ago it was at this point that I saw her recommending it. So I picked it up thinking, oh yes, I'll read this straight away, and here we are, the usual story. But I also did put this like very early last year on my 5-star predictions, and I looked over that the other day to work out how many of the books I've read off it, and the answer is very few. So I thought, better carry on working through them then. So this is a 5-star prediction, and I'm going to stay with the fact that I think this is still going to be a 5-star prediction, and I really want to fly through it this month. And indeed, as I said, I've been getting through about 10 books a month, and this list has 16, so I have plenty of chance to mood read around these, and I'm not expecting to get through them all, but you never know. 16 books. We'll see. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know in the comments down below what you are wanting to read this month. I would love to know whether you are planning on reading any of these too, whether you've already read them and you're like, oh my god, pick this book up for definite. Let me know in the comments down below too. But yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe by clicking the image of me if you want to see more book reviews and other bookish content from me, and I will see you soon. Bye bye!